councillors, you've given me guidance on each of the 12 remits. So it's just number one, that the Mayor be the presiding delegate to vote on behalf of the Ashburton District Council at the AGM. Councillor Price.
I'm happy to move that.
Thank you, Councillor Price. Councillor McMillan, sorry. Thank you. The matter is now open for debate. Councillor Lovett.
I was just going to ask, was it in the news report or somewhere I read something about cell phone coverage?
Chief Executive's report.
Oh, that's in the next one. Okay, right.
Thank you. So we have the recommendation. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. And then on page 48, councillors, I have been invited by Feinburn to visit China from the 16th to the 25th of May, which does clash with the Trust Power Community Awards judging panel. And I have a recommendation that we appoint someone to replace me on the committee. And I have put Councillor McMillan's name. Councillor McMillan, I'm sorry I haven't discussed it with you. But the reason for that was to give us a Western representation on the committee, was my thinking. So is there a mover for the recommendation? Councillor Dale?
I would like to recommend Liz to be on the, Councillor McMillan to be appointed.
Councillor Rawlinson?
And I'm happy to second that.
All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Councillor Branch.
Before you leave the Mayor's report, and just on 6.9.1 from the ECAN meeting, I was here, but looking at the people who were there, people were rural representatives. Was there no one from Christchurch City down here to visit us and tomorrow?
Councillors, I'm sure that ECAN is like Ashburton District Council, that when you become a representative, you are a representative for the entire area. No, in regards to where they reside, I couldn't tell you where these, I know where a couple of them reside, I don't know who lives in town.
I know Mr. Cable was in town, but they more represent the rural people, but it's only part of the people. I'm sure we would like to see the people who represent Christchurch City down here too, to get the other side of the story. They represent us as well.
Councillor Wilson.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I actually asked the councillors that were here exactly that question, because I was disappointed too. The so-called ones that criticise dairy and criticise the Ashburton River, criticise everything about Ashburton, don't seem to want to front up. They have a few weak excuses, but it seems every time we've met ECAN, at their insistence that they meet us, the ones that we want to talk to just don't front up. So it seems to be they don't want to come.
Councillor Wilson, I think it was an invitation. I didn't hear an insistence. Was there an insistence?
There were ECAN councillors unable to attend towards the end. It was a Timaru Ashburton Council visit, and between organising it and today, things changed a little bit.
Councillor Price.
That's exactly what I was going to say as well. There were, I don't think they were weak excuses. One person did. And I don't think the facts bear out the sentiment that they don't want to front up, because I've met several of them here who I imagine that you are referring to. I've met them here both for meetings with us, and I've met them here for zoning and field trips, so I don't think the facts support that at all.
Councillors, we at 3:45 are right on time, and I wish to welcome James Urquhart and Bruce Moffat, who will present the Experience Mid Canterbury quarterly report and the 2018 to 2025 strategy. And councillors, you will have received that report. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Welcome. And Bruce, may I say, earlier in our meeting you were referred in regards to the trip to China, and we were told that you were an excellent advisor. Is that what I understood, Councillor Brown? So thank you very much for assisting us on that trip.
You're welcome. Actually, as a result of just today, I had some confirmation back from one of the Nanjing travel agents that we met with, and they're doing some work on a couple of operators, so it was worthy. So, given everybody has received a copy of the quarterly review, I think given the time of the day, perhaps rather than me going through item by item, is there any questions at this point with regards to the report?
Councillor Rawlinson.
Bruce, how are you doing? I did have one, it was on the fold out piece with the, just in the vision section, inhibitors for growth, and the need for a visitor destination Ashburton. What, can I take that to mean?
Yes, so that's, I guess, you know, if we looked at the likes of, say, Lake Tekapo, as an example, you consider the lake and the beauty, and that's the thing as a destination. If we take Mount Hutt, for an example, it's a destination. We've got some wonderful aspects around the whole of Ashburton. We don't have one particular anchor destination point that says, let's get everybody to come here. And I think there's a real opportunity to have something around the agricultural industry in terms of, you know, whether that be an agri-tourism product or something that allows us to showcase that of our great specialty in agriculture. I've spoken to a few people over time around that, and everybody seems to have a great idea. But I've also had a few people nowadays as well. But yeah, that's the type of thing we're talking about in terms of making a destination international.
Thank you. You probably add Lakewood to that list.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Councillor McMillan, and your lights just gone off, sorry.
Okay, hello. Just a question on your international visitor survey. So are they group, are they tours or are they FITs? And how can we get more of the Chinese market to the rest of the Ashburton district? They seem to be just obviously stopping one night in Ashburton, which is why I'm assuming they're a tour group.
So that is all encompassing. So that is individual FIT and also group numbers as well. Look, how do we increase numbers into for China? Quite simply, it's about what we're doing at the moment and really trying to get the Chinese to understand that there's more to the district than just travelling down the main South Road, to be honest. You know, right now we're capturing a good market in Ashburton, but we're also doing a lot of work with them as well to try and get them to understand that perhaps go up around the inland centre a couple of times as well, which then allows us to be able to capture you know, markets like Meth and the likes of. So yeah, the Chinese market is still in its infancy in terms of the New Zealand growth. There has been quite a significant change in terms of how the Chinese are coming to New Zealand now in terms of more FIT instead of tours. But we're also still seeing that they're only coming here for around about 8 days. So they're doing the whole country in 8 days. So they're really picking the places that they need to be or they want to stop over. And sometimes we miss on that.
Councillors, can I remind you our prayer at the start of the day talked about patience and wisdom, and some of our lights are going off because they can only go on four at a time. But on my list I have Councillor Lovett, Beverly Wilson, Ben Malcolm. Councillor Lovett.
Just two things. I agree that we do farm tours in Chinese and Taiwanese, and that they're always looking for that something extra. And an agrodome would here in Ashburton would help to fill in that time. And then perhaps they could stay another night here. The other one I was going to ask you about the areas of growth. Do you see freedom camping around, as a venture if we set something up around like Lake Camp and down at Hakateri and some other places and try and market that? Because there's a lot of New Zealanders travelling through this country in their motorhomes and caravans living in them, and they're just going from place to place. And they're always looking for work along the road as well. Right. Whether we should be perhaps in the middle of the South Island developing that market, because we do have some beautiful scenery in this county. And we're not doing
We
anything
certainly do,
about it.
and look, I'd be in full support of it. Now, I understand last year the Motorhome Association of New Zealand and I understand it may have been the Ashburton District Council were talking about some property down the back of Lake Hood that they were going to put up as a camp. But I lost conversation of it. I think it's a really great idea, but that's the most recent information that I have.
The most recent information I have is that was a discussion, but that's not going ahead.
Okay, great. All right. Look, I've just had a fairly large conversation this morning with my other regional tourism folks as well, right around the country, and one of the topics was in fact talking about insights and data to do specifically with freedom campers and that of motorhomes. And it's massive. It's about 215,000 people that are in motorhomes around the country throughout the year. And more specifically, we were talking about the Campermate product. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's an app that we advertise on Campermate, and it tells people when they're near us, hey, come and do this, and come and do that, and come and do this. So that's one of our, you'll see in our strategy, we're already in discussions with them to be more formal, or more formal in terms of the way we actually use that product. But that aside, they're actually just working at the moment with a number of councils. I think Christchurch NZ's taking the lead on this one at the moment in terms of what can they do to make freedom camping more of an experience as opposed to oh my God, am I doing this legally? And one of the things they've actually talked about, and they've modelled this, and it's gone live today in Wellington, is they're actually putting these little locator discs in the ground that actually talk to the app. So as people are driving down the road, these little locator discs that are in fields, or they're in this case in Wellington, it's in a series of car parks that are around the waterfront, and it literally pings the app and says, well, I've still got 2 spaces left, or I've got 3 spaces left. It literally was switched on this morning, and I think this is amazing. You know, so we have the ability to be able to have full control around, about how many people are staying there. We can get some data in terms of what's going on with that. So I think they're at a point now where they're ready to rock and roll. I think they're just, and they're testing it in Wellington right now. And I think that's a great opportunity. So the numbers tell us that each motorhomer spends $160 per night per person in the motorhome. So that sort of negates the case that, they don't stay in accommodation and that sort of thing. They actually do stay in accommodation in motorhome parks and also that of our camping grounds. And so, the numbers are quite amazing. As I said, we've literally just been briefed today on in Christchurch. So I will get some more details and put that into my next report.
Thank you. Councillor Reveley.
Thanks, Pam. Have you seen the presentation that South Pacific Seeds have got? They've actually got a room set up and a marvelous presentation of all the seeds they grow. I'm sure with a couple of dollars will be spent. That's something which is quite phenomenal, where they've got the bees and how they produce all those crops. It really is a good...
I think it's an amazing product. I'd like to see that on perhaps a grander scale, whereby we've got perhaps stock involved as well, and also the opportunity to be able to have, dare I say, a petting zoo, so to speak, that these people can come in and they can, touch and feel and learn more from that aspect as well.
You've probably got the second part. You need a bit more hands-on.
Yeah, you do. That's right. Yeah. And you also need a big area, and that's one of the things that over the last few years, we've sort of struggled with. Farmers Corner, of course, they're particularly interested in trying to develop something, but I think they're working on their other parts of construction at the moment. But they're very keen to do something. They do have the alpacas out the back already, but whether or not they can develop further, I think that's a conversation that needs to go back to council planning. But that makes sense to have something like that.
I heard that Farmers Corner is going to have the best and most intriguing toilets in New Zealand.
$1 million apparently.
$1 million worth of toilets. Councillor Lawson.
Madam Mayor, going by your figures on International Business Survey, why are you concentrating on or spending a lot of time on China? Australia, well and truly in front. UK and USA, they use rental cars. China, domestic flight tour buses. They are not actually on the ground. It's these other people that'll be on the ground obviously Australia, rental cars, private cars, they'll be spending the money. Why aren't you concentrating to a certain extent, but to me there seems to be so much emphasis on China, 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 whereas these other aspects to me look more important.
I think if you look at the workload that we put into all of our markets, Australia is still by far the one we work with the most. So domestic and Australia are our two strongest markets, and it would be an absolute failure of ours if we weren't working that market. I think if we look at the Chinese market in its own, if we can grow the Chinese market by $1 million by doing just some really, really simple things like our social media and that sort of thing, that's all we need to do. In this financial year, we're actually going into a campaign for the entire year for China. This is a test platform. So this is called Weibo Starter. So it costs us $2,500 to do it for the entire year, so it's actually very, very good value. But we get to actually post images and details around of the district as it happens every single day of the week. That gets to a distribution channel of around about, even if you said 1% of the 92 million people that are on Weibo, it gives us a really good opportunity. So it's good value, but it also it means that we're not actually doing a hell of a lot for that Chinese market to try and drive it in. We also do more work locally around not only the Chinese market but the Singapore and Malaysian market, which is our third strongest market, and we use our international or inbound tour operators is what they're called, or inbounders, where these people are travel agents or wholesalers as we also know them. They reside in New Zealand but they market offshore. So rather than us going offshore, they're actually doing the work for us, and we present our products to them at a local level.
So, I see you're promoting Inland Scenic Highway. Bethlenem's not actually on that highway. If they go straight through there,
Yes.
they're not going to. I'd rather they come through Ashburton. We've got aviation, Lakewood, Timor. We've got lots of attractions that they were more likely to spend money than whizzing through Highway 72, and we've got to maintain that road by local ratepayers anyway.
Yeah, I could probably answer that one. That's probably due to a partnership with some of the other regions as well. So it's just getting better bang for our buck. I.e., some of the Hiranui and all those other regions, they put XYZ dollars as well. We put in a little bit as well. And then as a collective of regions, then Highway 72 was sort of born out of it. Yeah, but you're right though. So industry's one, we're already going to come through down our main road anyway. What we're going to try and do is get them to stop. That's the biggest challenge that we have here, is to make sure that they do stop in our region. Because you're right, like the aviation museum, all of these places, we've already identified these places as high key tourism opportunities for us, and the Plains Museum, etc. So, but that's why it's done that way.
I think I also mentioned as a point, so the Inland Scenic is one of, I think it's 19 touring routes around New Zealand, and that Tourism New Zealand promote actively around the world. The Inland Scenic, as a result of the mountains that are on it, and certainly around the winter season, is one of the heaviest that is actually promoted. So the challenge is that Tourism New Zealand can fundamentally say, hey, you've got to go and travel down Inland Scenic, but they don't actually have the nuts and bolts to be able to tell people what's actually off that particular road, for an example. So they don't have the intelligence to be able to say, well, why don't people go out and spend a day out in Hakateri Conservation Park, or go up to Mount Hart, or go jet boating on the Rakai River. So this particular platform not only allows Tourism New Zealand to be able to take something tangible to the international market, but it also allows us to be able to do some work around that as well. So I absolutely take your point as well in terms of State Highway 1. I guess where do you stop and where do you start it? It's not a designated road that has a point A to point B, where the Inland Scenic does. But yeah, very much take your point in terms of.
And can I just share with you, over Easter weekend where there were warbirds over Wanaka and Ed Sheeran concerts, while we looked at it as a frustration, Timaru District Council had the wisdom to put up a sign and say, stop for a coffee, so they may have boosted their tourism spend just by putting a sign up and encouraging people to stop and take a break as well. Maybe that's something we think of next time as a constant.
Absolutely.
Next I have Councillor Malcolm.
Thank you, Bruce, James. I agree with Councillor Lover. Agricultural tourism. Agriculture is our showcase here in Canterbury. We need a database of farmers willing to host people, a coordinator, tour operator willing to take us on to distribute the people to these farmers. It might be a cup of tea and scones and a walk down to the dairy shed if possible, but this is what